Hey, and welcome back to Adventure Plains. My name is Goodeful, and in this series we are building a park called Adventure Plains, obviously. And yeah, let's get right into it. Right now we are seeing a little bit of real-time footage, because I totally didn't forget to record anything in this episode, but I built off-screen because I wanted to. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Anyways, let's get into the time-lapse. Maybe I will show you some screenshots on Twitter or something like that later about the things you couldn't really see. I just built a platform thing for the people to get onto the boat, and a little bit of fencing in front of the Pelican coaster. And now we are starting the Scandinavian village, which will contain some shops for food and for souvenirs, and a toilet, a first aid station, and actual functional lockers. But we will get to those a little bit later when we're actually building them. Right now you can see me just building this typical Norwegian style living house with a small shop in it, and I will do four buildings of this kind in this episode. I don't want to make this village extremely detailed, but it should be a little bit more detailed than the generic stuff like the restaurants. So we will keep coming back to this one really often in the future. Here we have the second one, and again, nothing really special about this one. We'll get to it later. Now we're adding some of these pirate planters for the collision, for the guests, so they don't walk inside the building. I know they won't walk into it anyways, because there isn't anything that does interest them, because that's how the peeps work, sadly. But maybe somewhere in the future we will get a better AI for them, so they try to explore the park and look for beautiful stuff, and not only for what do I get the best thrilling score on the smallest area possible. Yeah. Now looking a little bit on the sidelines, how everything is seen by the guests. And now we are building the building in which we will have the toilet, the first aid station, and the functional lockers. With a little trick, I made them work so it looks like the guests use them. This one, this corner building style I tried here, was a little bit tricky because I do them very rarely, which I should do more often. And to figure out how I can put the roof in took me actually a while, but it isn't really that hard. I don't know, my brain just lagged very hard while I did this, because between this build session here and the actual fitting of the roof side of this building was like a day of time. So a time of day. English is an annoying language sometimes. I think you know what I wanted to say. This isn't where the lockers are going, by the way. There is an actual ATM in this building too. Now I'm building the floor, and just use this wooden roof pieces for the floor. What we will have also in this Scandinavian area is a playground. I'm kind of happy with the direction it is going to, but I'm not quite sure about how it looks in the end of this episode. You will see what I mean. I'm not really happy with the slide that is in there, and I don't know, maybe I have to figure out something. Maybe you have some ideas what I can do, because it looks really bumpy and unsmooth. Yeah, here, now you saw me fixing the roof line over there, and it wasn't really that hard, but I needed one day to figure out how to do it. So now I'm redoing all the beamwork and the windows, and I think I even put some interior windows in there. Let's see. A little bit more fixing of the beams. Yes, and now I start the beams inside of the building that hold up the ceiling. And right after that I get to the windows in and outside of the building. Yeah, it is nothing really special happening in this episode, really. It is only the lockers that are very interesting, and the playground, and all of the other stuff is more filling up. I just want to fill up the area between the GCI wooden coaster and the Copenhagen Pier, where we will build soon the log flume that starts in the Copenhagen sewers and goes out and back in and so on. And before that, I want to get the transition right between the more generic front area where the wooden coaster is standing and the heavier themed area of the Scandinavian part. And now we are getting into the lockers. You saw me sinking in the ATMs and the wall. Now I'm covering them up with art shapes, so we don't actually see them in the little gaps between the single lockers. Now I'm starting with a prototype of the locker. That one was fairly easy. Just use some art shapes and detailed it with a little bit of sci-fi pieces and the cables. That's also why those things are extremely space consumative. Maybe that is a word, maybe it isn't. We don't know. Here, now you can see I put in the cables for the screws in the locker. I'm not sure if there is a better way. Well, let me say it this way. I am sure there is a better way. I just didn't find it is the wrong word. I didn't search for it. I had this idea that they would work and I used them. So I did, and that leads to the locker being extremely space consuming. Ming, that's the right word. Yeah, you just saw me, by the way, struggling with the selection of items inside of a building, because sometimes it just doesn't work like it should. And now we're done. We have functional lockers, so the peeps will go to this place and use the ATMs behind the built lockers by us. And I like this idea very much because the function of a locker and an ATM is quite similar, because most people will put all their stuff into the lockers before they are exploring the park, and if they need something, probably money, they go to the ATM, not the ATM, to the locker, and get it from there so they can buy more stuff, for example, or get their food. And so the people will go there to resupply themselves, and that's what they are doing in the game right now. So I really like this idea that it's not just a neat trick to get the people to use the lockers. For that you could use a shop too, but they get more money, and so they use it for something that lockers actually really do. It's not perfect, but it's quite good, I think. Now a little bit lighting inside of the building, some signs to make it look less bland, and now you can see me trying to experiment a little bit with trees as planters, as room plants, but that doesn't really work out in the end, and I think I use a way smaller one. Yes, here, the green bush. And with that, I'm not even that happy. Maybe I will redo this somewhen in the future. But I realize I say that really often, but rarely ever do that with those things I talked about, I think. But we will come back to stuff like that. I know me, so maybe in 10 episodes we are going to do that. Again, a little bit of sideline checking. Now we put in the doors for the building, the open doors. So it actually looks like we have doors in there. And I really like this trick. If the door isn't high enough for covering up the entrance, just turn it around 360 and pull it into the ground, so it looks like the door is actually bigger. Now we are adding the roof to this, putting a little bit of a higher cover up for the middle part of the roof, because we don't have roof pieces that fit on this one tile big space. That is something I hope that will come in the future, but right now we have to trick it a little bit with the game so we can get it. Now we're getting into the playground area. That's where the playground will stand. but we're getting out of it immediately. I think while I built this, I was watching Rudy Renkemel's stream, and you saw me writing in the chat right there, where I waited with the window and didn't do anything for a few seconds. A little bit more of the beamwork for the building. By the way, I will add a backstage area here, backstage entrance. That doesn't actually make any sense except for probably storage, because it is right behind the lockers, so they can't get into the service areas of this building from there. So it probably is only storage. Now we're adding the roof trims for the whole building. Very fast, and after that I think we're getting the last building of the Scandinavian village, a green one in the same style as all of them, and we're keeping it simple with the style of those and don't want to get too crazy. Are we? No, we aren't. We are actually doing more beamwork. Oh, I need something to drink after this one. You know, you have to know I'm recording this at 3 a.m. Central European time, because I only had 10 minutes of time-lapse footage until 1 a.m. where I wanted to record the voiceover, and I thought, nah, 10 minutes is not enough for me, so I recorded the playground build just before recording this right now. So it's quite early, I'm quite tired, and my voice is telling me exactly that, but I'll have to get through this. Now we're adding a little bit of this wall climbing plant. I really like this one. It's very beautiful, and I hope there's more to come of this, because I think we don't have enough wall climbers, and I wish we could recolor the flowers on it, but I think that's something they're already planning. Here we have the next building. I will paint it green right now, and add the beams and the windows, business as usual as right now for those Scandinavian buildings. A little bit more detail is to come in the future, but I don't think it will be that much actually, because what to add, as I already told you while building the Copenhagen Pier, I think if you try to detail stuff too much, it ends up being random details that doesn't really make sense. And something Silverred told Rudy in the last, or the one before the last Koali Beach episode, is that if there are no areas with fewer detail, you won't notice the detail. And that is something I really like to think of. So you don't always have to try to make everything extremely detailed and fancy looking, because then the stuff you really want to stick out won't stick out. Probably a park with a lot of detail will still be very impressive, but I think a real theme park would do it the same way, that they put a lot of detail into their weenies and their centerpieces they want to have a spotlight on, and everything else is just enough themed so you get the immersion, but doesn't give you too much of the feeling. Now we're fencing in the playground area, and also are bordering the backstage area where the service roads are will be going. And now we're covering up this little space between the paths here. We don't finish that because I got really annoyed very fast of this, and because I forgot to do this as a building too, so I could copy more of them. And please, Frontier, let us copy multiple items outside of buildings. That would be so great, because I really often find myself in the position that I forget to, or don't even think of how much I have to do something with those art shapes before I build them, and then I realized, dang it, I should have done this as a building so I could copy multiple items at a time. And then I restarted inside of a building, and it would be so great if we just could select multiple items outside of a building and use them for copying around. And now we are already starting the playground. This one will get very tinkery because I have to try out a lot with the pole bridge. I don't know how to call it, but you will see what kind of bridge it is in a few seconds, because it went very asymmetrical on me but I thought I built it in a way that it will be symmetrical, but it wasn't, so I obviously didn't. But this ended up for me having to change a lot and fiddle with it and see how I can get it in the right place. So now you can see me put in the ropes, and after that the tinkering begins. Putting in ropes, aligning the wooden poles so it actually fits with the rope. Now I realize that doesn't work on neither side, and now I realize that that doesn't work really well either. Oh no, I don't realize that. Okay, that I realize that this doesn't work, and I have to do it all manually. That was really annoying to build, and now I can see that the right side is way lower than the left side, and I have no idea why that happened, but it happened, so I fiddle a lot with it, and now we can see that the wooden poles in the middle are not really in the middle, and this is all stuff that really bugs me, and I don't know how this happened, but in the end it's quite okay-ish, but not perfect, and I probably will change that depending on how satisfied I am with it while keep on building this park and how good you guys think it is. If you tell me it has to be rebuilt, then I probably will, because if I'm not the only one who sees the issue, then it is an issue. And if I'm the only one, then maybe I'm just overdoing it. So here we added a small stair-like thing, a little bit of fencing over there to make it secure for the children to play on. And now we're preparing the roof area of this. But are we building the roof? Yes, I am building the roof. And here I do something I probably could have cut out, but I didn't because I wanted you to see that. I wanted to build a thatch roof for this one, but it was not possible for me. I tried so long to get it right and to have it align perfectly with the roof line on the bottom side, but no chance at all. I tried so long, I think it was probably half an hour, where I tried to align those the right way, and I couldn't do it. But I saw in Koala Beach that it is possible, and I have no idea how they do this amazing stuff with this thatch thing. So I went back to my proven method of wooden planks that already works, and it looks quite nice, so I'm not that sad that I couldn't build the thatch roof, but it annoys me a little bit because it would be nice to have it in there. And now we're finished with the roof, and now I wanted to add a small castle on this side for the children to climb on, and where we will add the slide, the bumpy, unsmooth slide, where the children can slide down. And I probably made the slide a little bit too long, because there is no real slide down ending where they can slow down. They just would hit the path, I think. I maybe have to move all this a little bit to the back and add something of those catching areas so the children can slow down. Now a little bit of beamwork for the tower where the children climb over the bridge to get to the slide. Adding 2 stairs so they can get over this walkway. A little bit of fencing over here with wooden beams. Oh, I really feel how I'm tired. I'm so happy if I can go to bed right after this. Oh, never doing this again. But I have the problem, and I think some of you know that too, that most of the time for the last week I was not really uninspired, but I didn't want to do the work. I always had the feeling like I really want to have a playground in my park, but I really don't want to build a playground. I just wanted to have it, but I also don't want to build with blueprints in this park, because It's a YouTube series and I want to make everything myself. I even felt a little bit like a cheater when I used my own blueprint for the chairs in the first seating area with the dish disposal next to the wooden coaster. So I can't build with blueprints in here. It just doesn't work. So I couldn't use the amazing playground by Silver Red, for example. Because I want to make my own stuff, and it also would feel weird if I used other people's stuff in my YouTube videos and get views for something I didn't do. I know I don't have that many views right now, but anyways, it would feel like I have cheated. Now we built something I'm kind of proud of. We built the what is the English word for that? The German word is Sandkasten. But if I translated word by word, it would be called sandbox. That sounds actually really right. Oh god, I am so dang tired. I don't even find words. I am building in a sandbox part that is named like this because of this children playground thing, and I've tried to think of this word and I can't come up with it. Holy moly, I need my bed. Oh. But we're there anyway soon. Ah, we're already there. I'm just doing a little bit of foliage here to cover up those areas. And then I'm painting all of the areas around with the flower bed texture here with earth and stuff. And now I think for the last 30 seconds I will leave you to the time lapse. I thank you all guys for watching. If you like this episode, even with a tired me, please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe to my channel for more. I upload every Sunday at 18:30 p.m. And yeah, I'm active on Twitter and Facebook too, so make sure you follow those two. And now, I wish you all a good night and thanks for watching. Bye bye!